Well, hello, everyone.
Yo.
All right. And this is punk rock talk. So let's just start with the fashion. Things like this and other things. Right. And fashion has changed.
To its degree in this decade, it has, but
It's
most of it
changed
hasn't changed.
ultimately in punk. Originally, guys were wearing like plaid shirts, t-shirts over plaid shirts, and were wearing bandanas.
That's kind of more like American hardcore, something like that.
Yes, that pretty much is.
If we're talking about punk, like the style back then, it was just more ripped t-shirts with safety pins, or sometimes it's just like a ripped shirt with like pins from other bands and shit like that.
Right, and
Especially in American punk.
you guys should see my shirt. It's a Murphy's Law shirt. Why there is such a band as the Mighty Mighty Bosstones is all responsible by Murphy's Law. If you ever read New York Rock, the book, they call him the David Lee Roth of hardcore. That's Jimmy G. Jimmy G is about fun, baby. So is David Lee Roth. Yeah.
Yeah, but punk in of itself is just a wide spectrum of ideas and whatnot based on influences and like
That's
ideas.
true. Okay, who do you think the first punk rocker before it had a name to wear plaid? I've seen this person live.
Who is he?
He was around in the hippie culture. There are three people that you could say were punk living in California. They're all musicians. Jim Morrison, Frank Zappa, and this one other person.
Yeah,
He's
that's
from
according to the
California.
word of like LA punks or something like that. At
No,
least the
dude.
old school ones.
But dude, I pinned this person out to be a punk also. I didn't see Morrison. I only saw Zappa in the womb, and I got to see his son, Dweezil. So I got to see the music performance, and Dweezil hired a guy.
Have you ever heard of the punk band called Krusty Slits?
No.
I haven't heard of them. I should look them up though. Hang on, let me say something. She also mentions a band called Plaid Hatters.
No, you write that down, then I'll write down notes after the show. Okay, I'm saying like, okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the answer to that. John Fogerty. Look at Fogerty's music. He wasn't a hippie. He did roots rock, blending the styles of folk blues, because they cover that Web Belly tune, and in with the southern style of rockabilly and other things like that, country too, and blending it with 50s rock also. They made roots rock. So you could, so you mark him as the first person to wear plaid that was, because they owned hippie culture. The only thing you had in the hippie days in New York were the Fugs and the Velvet Underground. They were pretty much the only two bands making noise at that time in New York. They're the real beginning of New York rock, both of those bands. One was a freak band, the other was an art band. But yeah, so you have all the hippie culture, so some people are going to get pissed off and rebel against that.
I kind of forget how proto-punk you can be, really.
Yeah, I do my research. And then you can wave plaid, and that's what the guys in pub rock used to wear. English pre-punk. They're totally punks. Three of them have gone on the mainstream fame.
Yeah, pub rock is more like a theatrical kind of rock, so it was more like over the fucking top, honestly.
But for England, it was the pre to the punk. But Elvis Costello totally started as punk. So did Joe Strummer. Continued. And Ian Dury. Ian Dury might have had that hit, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. But before that, he's a total punk. I saw a great documentary on once. Yeah, he was crippled from a very early age. So he was the crippled punk. Totally.
I know about that.
What?
I knew about that anyway.
I didn't. So I saw a documentary. I forget the name of it. My therapist wanted it to me. It's a great documentary.
What is he saying? So I zoned out. He's asking what you were
I'm
saying.
talking about Plaid in the history of punk before it got to skacore. Right, it became the look of skacore, but before it was the look of pub rock, and it's always the look of John Fogerty. You can even drop it on the Meat Puppets adopted the Plaid look from Neil Young, but the Meat Puppets are the underground and punk rock version of Neil Young. They made punk for about an album and maybe a song, but they made what was left of it too, and they only have one mainstream hit. Meat Puppets are great to see in concert. I've seen them at least once, and I plan to see them a second time.
I gotta forget how too fucking mellow you can be. See, when I think Plaid in punk, then I think
It's also
like
psychedelic. It's part of that look too.
or a street punk as well, like bondage pants, like the plaid ones.
Yeah, but talking about more plaid shirts. That's the history of plaid shirts. But I get what you mean by the bondage pants. Never really into that look, but there are all kinds of looks.
Any particular reason why? I'm just curious.
It just wasn't my look. Everybody has their different look. I was more the ripped jeans guy.
Oh, I'm all for ripped jeans any day.
Yeah, that's kind of like
that's
the traditional look of the Ramones. Long hair and ripped jeans. That was mostly my look. Till one day I got a mohawk. I dyed it.
When the hell you had a hawk?
I've had a mohawk at 16 or 17. I've had a mohawk. My last mohawk was 25. Unless you're in a band, most places won't hire you with a mohawk.
Well, I have a job and I still have a mohawk anyway. What do you got to say about that? It's more of a prank call shit.
Take back. I'm just going to do this. No.
I forget about him, dude.
I know what to do.
Oh, he changed his name. How nice.
Just for today. Let's see if he's going to be able to call now. Let's go back to Chrome. If Helen Keller and his friends are out there, I had to block you. Let's see if you call now. Yeah. If you're not a friend, then you can't call the other person. Yeah.
Randy just called you a mouth breather.
Well, I don't really care, Randy. All right. So we were talking, and that's how that look evolved, and then it made it into ska punk, thanks to the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah, you just look at the different aspects about punk. Now, how about something like, say, anyone's familiar with, like a spiky jacket or something like that?
Or spiky hair. But do you know what individual started?
Who the fuck is that?
Anyways,
Who the fuck are you?
on base.
Brian T said, yeah, block an interesting call. Great idea.
This is not about him. So, yeah, I told Travis he wouldn't be able to call in today. So I'm not going to be sitting around here for his bullshit. If you don't think this show is interesting, Brian T, you don't have to be here. I'm not going to kick you out, but you just don't have to be here. All right. All right, we were talking about punk rock fashion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All you really need you want a great punk rock fashion, is a punk rock t-shirt, ripped jeans, and grow your hair as long as you want.
That's your idea, dude. I just
Okay,
prefer having spiky hair, dude.
Okay, who's the person that invented spiky hair? Where did Malcolm McLaren get it to bring it to?
He got it from like, I don't know, what was his fucking name? Richard Hell, I think it was.
Yes, that's the guy.
Yeah,
Richard Hell is the reason why they have that title, Please Kill Me, is on his t-shirt.
It's not the one they sing, that Mother from Danzig.
And it was the first punk rock show you ever attended.
First one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That was like, what was it? It was like in the early 2000s. It was like 13 years old or 12 at CBGB's. It was like a collection of like 80s and 2000 the 90s bands. Like it was the Ghouls from Philadelphia, the Radix, they're an NYC band. Let's see, Brain Failure, like a Beijing punk band. And Roger Murray and the Disasters. That was a side project.
You ever seen Gnostic Front?
Never seen.
Seen Gnostic Front at least twice. So some do.
Murphy's Law. I'll give them.
They opened up for Murphy's Law.
And the headliners were The Business.
Okay, they opened up for Murphy's Law's 20th anniversary, and then I saw the 25th anniversary Victim in Pain. So they did the original Victim in Pain lineup. Then minus Rabies, I saw them do United Blood, and then they just closed with a new track.
Yeah, so like I said, the main headliners of the show were the one I saw was The Business.
Nice.
Yeah,
I can name my first three. I totally count this as punk rock. I saw Dre and Snoop Dogg on the Chronic tour.
You sing what?
I saw Dre and Snoop Dogg on the Chronic tour. Dre, after NWA broke up, made a record called Chronic with him rapping and introduced a new artist, Snoop Dogg, that went on to become extremely famous.
What does that got to do with punk?
Dude, that's one kind of punk rock. Rap is street music.
That is true. Very
Same
true.
thing with punk rock. They're both street music. So rap or hip hop is the black punk, and then the other punk.
It's become really more evident now.
Is I wouldn't say the white punk, but yeah. But then anybody else is allowed in there. So that's just the
because
punk with guitars.
Punk isn't a white thing. It's just a rock thing. That's all.
Okay, so that's the rock version of punk rock. But punk is just an attitude. So then I saw the Bad Brains exactly after that, a year later. And then I saw Murphy's Law, and that's the first three shows I saw. And I saw Murphy's Law. I didn't have any hair.
Like
maybe
what,
I had a
shaven head? Completely?
I had a little. I usually crew cuts when I wasn't growing it.
I just prefer to have a mohawk because, like, that's been like the one style. Like, I've had crew cut, shaven head.
I had a crew cut at 15. Then I grew my hair for a whole year.
My whole hair was Liberty spikes.
Then I grew my hair really long. You know why? I got in the crossover.
So this is a more metal reason why you grow your hair long.
Pretty much. The more you're in the metal, the more you'll want to have hair.
Understand that.
You can't headbang with short hair.
No, you can't. It just doesn't work.
Well, doesn't feel as good. It's not very long.
No, but it's growing at least.
I've got longer. I've got just small space where it's not growing so well. I've mostly got it.
Uh-huh. Eric. Who the fuck is Carrick?
You mean Derek, right? Prince Noob Sauce in the house.
Hard work with the windows down, the airflow, or my shaved it. Well, to each his own.
Yeah, I had crew cuts 2 or 3 times, maybe 4. My wife. I shaved my head only once. I was 17.
That's surprising. You.
I had at least
shaving
3
head.
mohawks.
And you spiked them up.
I had the really skinny mohawk that you almost have that part shaved. I've had a partial mohawk. I've had the full thing. Mostly all with dyed hair. The last time I didn't dye hair. It's the last mohawk. Why dye? I
Get
haven't dyed my
decided,
hair
like-
since I was probably 24.
I get decided like
Maybe
fucking
30.
what color I want to do next. I'd rather just grow it out long enough and then I'll decide.
Okay. Growing long hair for me is getting in the middle. I liked
Same
crossover
reason.
a lot. I knew lots of people that liked it. What's the first crossover band you ever heard?
First one. Let me think.
It was part of the punk rock. landscape.
Crossover thrush. First one. I had to say maybe.
What's up, Weaver?
I'd probably say Municipal Waste or Toxic Holocaust.
Never heard that band, but
They're one of the more recent like crossover bands.
Chromags and Biohazard, they're first two. They're crossovers.
Well, of course, I've heard Biohazard. I've heard Chromags.
I've seen both bands too. Have you seen both bands?
Nope. I wanted to, but it's just more like that sort of, that hardcore crowd. It's like they look more like jocks
That's what
than
I've seen the
punks.
Crumbsucker, so I've seen 3. I saw my hardcore man.
I see.
Yeah. So I definitely say I've seen more hardcore bands. I've seen the
Okay.
Misfits. I saw Flag. Did you ever see Flag?
No, Ryan, it's not Hitler hairdo. Look, for with you right fucking now.
Flag is members of Black Flag: Keith Morris, Chuck Dukowski, Des Cadena, and Bill Stevenson. And one new member to make up for Greg Gibbs' absence is on that reincarnation. The Flag. He owns Black Flag.
Mercedes. Look at what Weaver said. Blatz. Hold on, let me look that up.
Weaver, you also drive Uber? I'm gonna do it. Weaver, I can hide all your comments. You keep on saying that. Maybe I'll learn the first one. Uh-huh.
I haven't heard of this one yet, but I'll give him a listen.
Waiter, loser. See you in 300 seconds, Weaver. Want to be disruptive? Now you'll pay the price.
Like, yes, Hankenstein. I've heard of Filth. I've at least heard of that one. And yes, Ronnie, I know it looks like Doyle. It's just I'd rather have it down. That's all.
All you need is makeup.
Oh, you mean Misfit? It's like, oh, I thought you meant something else.
Yeah. Well, he's playing on the 3rd of January at Brooklyn Bazaar.
Censorship is not fucking.
Now you
Shut the
have
fuck
all
up.
time in the world. Hello?
What?
You request a day off. It's a Thursday.
Well, it's like I'll just see what I'm doing then. I don't have
It's
a
the 3rd of January.
Oh, 3rd of January. Maybe I'll have the day off, or at least like have work early or something. I don't know. Again, it's like no MLT. A censorship is not hardcore punk.
Ronnie Craig. That's a no.
Hold on, unless you're talking about a band called Censorship. Hang on.
What was the first punk band you heard?
First one.
Yeah.
Trying to decide.
That's the word, Ronnie Craig.
Trying to decide. Okay, the first one I ever heard was either the Sex Pistols or Ramones. I can't decide really.
Well, punk that you call punk. It was definitely BC Boys when I was 10. Wasn't really that. Then I heard the Misfits and I came after. I heard Black Flag after that. Well, I consider punk the Beatles' Backbeat. That's punk rock. Them covering all the Chuck Berry and Little Richard and Elvis tunes. Totally punk rock.
Well, we just have different views of it. That's all.
Well, it comes down to the attitude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, how long we doing this shit?
What?
How long we doing this?
For as long as you want to do it.
It's just take time, you know.
Yeah, I could talk about punk rock till the cows come home.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do that, we might as well at least.
Have you
play
ever
some.
met a member of punk rock?
Any members? Let's see. Met Jake from the Casualties. I met like singer Dave from Crumb Bums. Let's see. I met Leaving from Fear.
Wow.
Let's see. What else did I meet? And like shit. It's like I've lost count how many like musicians I've met over the years.
Let's see. I met all of Slayer. They're thrash metal.
I know that, but we're talking
Right.
about punk.
I'm talking about all people involving punk. I met Lars. Okay, that covers thrash metal meets. I have met Vinny Stigma. I met Roger Moret. I have met Jimmy Gustavo. I've met Rayvon. I have met. Let's see. Harley Flanagan. I've met Rabies.
Is punk rock taste not debatable? Well, the only reason why
I'm still going. I met John Holtzman, the guy that invented Punk Magazine. I've met Ansel Dick Manitoba. I've met Dickie Barrett. Let's see, who else? I met Exene and John Doe from X. I met everybody in X. I met Billy Zoom and DJ Bonebreak.
So in other words, you met a whole bunch of musicians as well.
Everybody in the Pixies but Black Francis. And, you know, he's the guy with the ego. He's the singer. Right. Kim Deal was not in the house, so I met a replacement. No, I didn't meet her.
Right.
I met two other people.
Hold on.
So I met half the band.
Hold on a second.
No, actually, I did meet her.
Derek is asking a questions like, Derek, why isn't taste debatable?
Well, in punk rock, not really. Why isn't taste debatable? I'll define it. Okay. There's a whole shitload of people that like Pat Boone, and I don't. And just like there's people that like the Bee Gees 1970s disco songs. I don't. And I'm not going to argue and say, well, that music sucks. You shouldn't like it. To those that like it, I'm just not going to like it. To everybody, there's only two kinds of music, hell and cower, good and bad. It's up to each person to determine what they think is bad and what they think is good. I heard Charlie Parker say that once, a great jazz musician. So, you know, that's why taste isn't debatable. There's somebody's always going to like something, and it's not for all people, everything that was made in the history of music. Right, that's
in other words, it's like we all have our different picks of like which category of punk we like the most.
No. I'm saying that's all music.
Like,
punk is a little bit different. There's so much great music to go around.
Yeah, but there's some things about punk I don't like. Like I don't like folk punk. I don't like, crap rock steady.
You don't like the Pogues?
Pogues are Celtic punk. That's different.
Well, before they were Celtic punk, they were folk punk.
Well, fucking the guy,
the first album
he was in a punk band before the Pogues.
Yes, but Dude, the first album by the Pogues, Red Roses, for me, for you, is not Celtic. It doesn't go Celtic to Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash. That's the invention of Celtic punk.
I think it's just Celtic in the fact that they're an Irish band, plus also the fact of like, and they use the punk beat in the Irish music.
Yes, but what about, you don't like the Violent Femmes?
I haven't listened to Violent Femmes yet.
Really? That's American folk punk. That's all it is. All great electric folk is through the vehicle of Bob Dylan. From folk, rock, to country,
I'm just talking about these particular
to folk
like
punk,
folk punk bands.
is all
that are
responsible for his existence.
I'm just talking about the folk punk bands I know are the ones that are inspired by bullshit like Leftover Crack or something like that.
What's wrong with Leftover Crack? They're part of that landscape of New York hardcore.
I'm sorry, but I fucking hate the living shit out of them, dude. It's
Dude,
like,
there's no hardcore band
they're
that
overrated, and the singer is a fucking hypocritical douchebag anyway.
They're part of the landscape of New York hardcore.
I don't care. There's like some things about New York hardcore you don't have to agree with at all. You know?
I don't agree with a lot of new bands, but the old bands I agree with very much. Have you ever heard of Orange 9mm?
I'm sorry, what?
Orange 9mm.
No, I never heard
You
of
have to get that book.
All right, I will.
Read the whole book. It talks about the rise and fall of New York rock, from the rise of the Velvet Underground, from the rise and fall of the Velvet Underground to the closing of CBGB's. It's New York rock. Yeah, I'm stuck in noise rock right now. What's wrong with noise rock?
You just like close yourself off to like the new stuff that's coming around, dude.
I'm not closing myself off.
You
You
just
didn't
never
like
even,
Sonic Youth? I've seen Sonic Youth twice.
dude. Fuck Sonic Youth, man.
Why? Sonic Youth was amazing.
It's like a hipster fucking band these days now, dude. Besides, all the fucking hipster shitheads in fucking Manhattan love
Dude.
Sonic Youth.
Dude, Sonic Youth was a noise band. Really good one, too.
And I'm saying hipsters kind of gravitate toward that shit. You're not aware of this because you don't pay attention to what goes on in Manhattan. I do.
I don't know. Dude, Sonic Youth is no more. They're a noise band.
Ugh. I agree with everything that Prince Obscene is saying.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe if you read something, or you read something, you might know the real story.
I'm just going by the music, dude.
They were a noise rock band. Noise rock is great.
Whatever, man. Yeah, it's like fucking. I have to get going right now because I gotta get up early in the morning anyway.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah, for now at least.
All right, this is based on his schedule. You could have done this at 8 o'clock. So could I have.
Well, I had the things I had to do. I'll tell you in a second. So
Right, he has to go. That's why I'm ending the stream. I wanted to go on for another hour and could.
well, it's like next time we will. So toodles.
Go fuck yourself, Weaver. See you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, hit it. Anyways, basically, I was over at my guy's place, the one who lives near Fleetwood, getting